great games, and he still gets a triple-double. Some of those outlet passes, though, guys running the court hard. Nicholas Claxton, Landry Shamet, you run the floor, he will see you. He is always looking up, and I give him a lot of credit tonight. He had a couple of sloppy turnovers, but he didn't want to make this all about him. He didn't say, you know what, I am scoring 50 points and everyone else just stand back. That's kind of what Victor Oladipo and John Wall were doing with the Houston Rockets. I mean, that would be two tough players to play with. But Harden, you got through this game. The Nets got through it. You go now into the break where everyone except for Kyrie Irving and James Harden will get rest. Remember, they're going to go down to Atlanta for the All-Star game. But, man, the Nets, the way that they're playing. To do this, and you only had Durant in one of these games during the win streak, it's pretty good.
That's what you have to look at, Nets fans. Kevin Durant, in the 37 games they've played in the first half, he's played 18 of them, and they're in the position that they're in right now, just a half game behind the Sixers because the Sixers beat the Jazz tonight in overtime. We'll get to that a bit later. Let's focus on James Harden, though. You said 8 turnovers. Not a completely good night for him. Still a triple-double, but let's be honest. He played 44 minutes Monday night in San Antonio. Zippo on the turnover.
Look at you making all the excuses for the player. No, hey. Early on, he had some really bad turnovers, but this is what you like about him. He's always got his head up. DeAndre Jordan, Nicholas Claxton, always getting dunks on. How about this move right here? Around Victor Oladipo.
Wow, unbelievable.
Had him right in the spin cycle. Look at this again.
You beat me to it.
Oh, and then the little Euro step at the end. Victor Oladipo's thinking, I got to take 3 more shots the next time I get the ball. Then the step back 3. Here you go. I mean, this was the run that happened when, and this is when he finally gets a triple-double
rebound.
You know, the Rockets did cut it to 8 at 105-97, and it's interesting about the Nets. It's almost like a confidence/arrogance about them. They don't get worried, and what do? They rattle up 8 straight points, 2 3-pointers from Harden, and the game is over.
And you see Harden joins this list, a triple-double in his first game against his former team. But you said it, Frank. He was just unbelievable all over the floor, setting up his teammates, hitting big shots when the Nets needed it. As you said, the Rockets cut it to an 8-point game. And who hits the big 2 threes? James Harden, ice in his veins, just comes down and nails them.
Yeah, and what also happened during that little run that they had? Nicholas Claxton working, got an offensive rebound for an easy putback. I'll tell you what, for a guy who you didn't really think much about early on in the season, how well has he played the last couple of games? Here,
absolutely.
This is easy. James Harden's going to get you the ball. This is what I like. Put the ball on the floor, then scored in traffic. That was impressive. I'm always been so sure he had that in his game.
And even though he started the season hurt, in these press conferences with Steve Nash, he was always mentioning him. There was always Nick Claxton right on the outside looking in, and as soon as he got healthy, the Nets knew what they had in him, and maybe this is why they were a little bit easier with dealing away Jared Allen.
Yeah, and that was that righty putback that we were talking about that made it 110-97. I'll tell you what, he's just getting essentially spot minutes, and he's putting up 16 points and 8 rebounds. Now, Houston didn't have any size on their team, so the Nets were dominating the paint, but there's nothing wrong, again, playing hard, running the court, fighting for rebounds. Because if you run the floor, James Harden is always looking to make that pass. He's looking to get into early offense. That's why guys love playing with James Harden. He's going to look to pass the ball, especially on this Nets team. If you're not looking to pass, you play for the Houston Rockets, where Victor Oladipo and John Wall would not stop shooting tonight. They were looking to pad their stat. That was a little tough to watch.
You called that before Richard Jefferson called that during the game as we were watching the game in our Yes Network green room. Let's take a look now, Frank, at the Nets inside the numbers. Pre-All-Star break, 24-13 record, second in the Eastern Conference. As we mentioned, the Sixers beat the Jazz tonight in OT, so they moved to 24-12. Their win percentage is the 3rd best in team history at the All-Star break, and games when the Big Three are all active, just 7. But they're 5-2, and that's what I brought up. Kevin Durant has only played 18 games, Frank. 18 games. Nets fans, this is what you have to look forward to in the second half when KD gets healthy. With all 3 of them running, this team is going to be ridiculous to watch.
And it's not like you're wondering, wow, how is Kevin Durant going to fit in? Kevin Durant does everything. Besides the fact that he's one of the elite scorers in the league, he also defends. He's a playmaker, never takes a bad shot. That's not going to be a problem. I think the only issue when he gets back, and it's a minor issue, how will all the role players now adjust? Because you're going to be playing fewer minutes. Can you be that effective playing shorter minutes than you're playing right now? But remember, Jeff Green is going to be a big part of this team as well, as is TLC. But come on, this Net team, which is right now fighting for first place in the Eastern Conference, and they've only had Kevin Durant for 18 games. It's pretty good.
The rotation is coming into a rack focus for this Nets team with Kevin Durant on the bench. Now let's step aside here, take our first break. And the Rockets, Nets win tonight 132-114. There were a couple pivotal moments in this game. The Nets led by as many as 23. Yep. You wouldn't think there would be pivotal moments. We saw the one with James Harden in the fourth quarter. There was one in the third quarter late as well with Kyrie Irving and Coach Nash to start it off.
Yeah, and right here, Steve Nash just telling Kyrie Irving, just take it easy, play your game. By the way, Kyrie Irving did make his final 4 shots of the game. At one point, he was 6 for 18. But that run that the Houston Rockets went on, they cut it to 90-80, and Victor Oladipo had 12 points during that run. But coming out of the timeout, how about that ball movement right there? You don't expect to see Nicholas Claxton to Bruce Brown inside, and then Kyrie getting himself going right here with the pull-up 3 off the pass from Bruce Brown.
So the Rockets cut it to a 10-point game, and then the Nets break out of this timeout and go on an 8-0 run. And here's Brown setting up Shamet in the corner. Brown, Shamet, Claxton all played well off the bench tonight for the Nets. And then Irving once again here with another 3. So he shot the ball well, as you mentioned, Frank, especially later on in the game. They win 132-114. James Harden with his 8th triple-double of the season. Victor Oladipo with 33 points in the loss for the Rockets. Moments ago, our Sarah Kustok and Richard Jefferson wrapped up this game and the first half.
Thank you, Chris. Well, the Nets head into All-Star break doing pretty well. They're on a roll, winning 10 of their last 11. They've now won 7 straight on the road. And, of course, Richard, the one thing that we were waiting for, I think a lot of those inside the Nets organization, in particular James Harden, excited for him to finally make his return back to Houston, considering all he had done for the organization, how he's been doing for the community, and of course, the way that it ended. So when you look at this game, James Harden, 8th triple-double with the Brooklyn Nets. What did you see out of his approach and so much the performance as we've continued to watch him grow with this team?
Well, I just see persistence. When you watch the way James Harden approaches each game, there's no difference. That's why he's had so many triple-doubles. The amount of double-doubles he's had, double-digit assists in all but I believe 4 games that he has played as a net. And so his approach this season has been surgical. And when you talk about all the emotions that come with playing back home, and we talked about it on the broadcast, where his numbers here in Houston alone most likely would put him in the Hall of Fame, and he still has so much more of basketball to play. But I love the way he led this, and a lot of times team players try and support a player when they're going into these environments. Obviously not a hostile environment. It wasn't packed with fans, so it wasn't probably as emotional, but it's great to get that monkey off your back and get a win your first time playing back with your old team.
Yeah, not only was James Harden extraordinary, but you take a look at the fact that the Nets have 33 assists, the continued look from top to bottom, how everyone is able to make contributions. A lot of that initiated through how James Harden has been organizing this offense. What have you noticed in the growth, whether it's Nicholas Claxton, how he's come on, Bruce Brown, how he continues to play, Joe Harris, of course, Kyrie Irving? What does that do for this group now here in the first half of the season, having so many of these complementary and role players contributing?
Well, I think the entire league, that's what the entire league is kind of worried about. That's when you start to see Landry Shamet playing well. You're starting to get contributions, whether it's Tyler Johnson or Landry Shamet. Claxton coming on has been amazing because you see that he's capable. When you have a rookie and he's sitting behind 2 very, very good players, all of a sudden he gets an opportunity, and he's not a deer in headlights. He's going out there and contributing, blocking shots. You can see his comfortability continuing to increase every single game and every minute he's out on the floor. And that's just giving the rest of the league notice that it's not just 3 superstars you're going to have to deal with, but there is a crew of guys that's coming behind them that also has a lot of confidence that's growing.
Yeah, crew coming behind, including the hopeful return of Kevin Durant, Jeff Green, Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot that did not play here tonight. So the Nets look to eventually get back to full strength as we take a break here for All-Star break and get back at it against Boston next Thursday. For myself and Richard Jefferson, Chris, let's send it back to you guys in the studio.
Sarah, Richard, thank you. When we come back, we will hear from that man, head coach Steve Nash. That's next, right here on Yes.
Got FOMO? The fear of missing out?
Oh, no!
Then you've got to watch Yes.
Oh, yes!